Last night, the Toronto Maple Leafs welcomed back Kyle Dubas to Toronto with a 7-0 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was an incredible performance, and the only thing lost was another of Max Domi's teeth. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk all things Toronto sports, and throughout the month of December I am counting down the days to Christmas with lots of holiday hockey content. And for today's video I'm talking about the Leafs game last night. As I said, 7-0 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I already knew that I loved this team and it felt like something special, but last night really solidified that in my mind. So I thought I need to talk about this today. So I've got my jersey on, I've got my wine in my hand, and that's today's video topic, so let's jump in. So the team was going into this game already without Austin Matthews and TJ Brodie because they have both come down with this illness which just seems to be taking the entire team out one by one. There's been loads of Leafs players out over the last couple of weeks with this flu, illness, whatever they have, and last night Austin Matthews and TJ Brodie were both not in the lineup for that reason. But on the plus side, not only was Matthew Knies back, which I just felt so excited about, but also Timothy Liljegren was back in the lineup too, which is so exciting because obviously he was out with an ankle sprain injury after he came into contact with Marchand on that very controversial non-call. But he was back, which he is one of the Leafs' best defensemen, and I definitely feel like the Leafs were really missing him, so I was really excited to have him back. And right enough, Matthew Knies, I had a good feeling about him before the game, and he opened the scoring, and not only that, but he went on to have a Gordie Howe hat-trick. He ticked off all three boxes. He had a goal, a fight, and an assist. Love to see it. First Leafs Gordie Howe hat-trick since 2015, February 2015 I believe, which super exciting because it's the first time there's been a Gordie Howe hat-trick for a Leafs player since I started watching them. I'm a rookie, guys, what can I say? Mitch Marner also scored, and then Bobby McMahon had his first NHL goal, which is always such an awesome moment to see a guy getting his first NHL goal. The second period saw goals from Domi, Tavares and Gregor, while Nylander finished off the scoring in the third. I've mentioned in previous videos that I was really disappointed by some of the new additions to the Leafs roster, including the likes of Reeves and Domi, etc. But Max Domi really came into his own last night, and because Matthews was out, he was bumped up into the top six, and he really took that opportunity and ran with it. He put up a great defensive performance, but he also had his first 3-point game as a Maple Leaf, picking up a goal and 2 assists. He really shone last night, and that was so exciting to see because I hadn't been overly impressed, really. He wasn't like the biggest disappointment for me by any means, but I really had been, I don't know, I felt a little bit underwhelmed, but he was absolutely incredible, and it's nice to see him perhaps now settling in to his role, which is what I feel like is happening. Martin Jones also deserves some recognition. That guy saved 38 shots. He's a third string goaltender. He shouldn't have that high expectations on him in the first place, but he just excelled. He is an exceptional goalie. I'm really excited to see what he can keep bringing to the Leafs now that he has the opportunity, because obviously, you know, if Wall hadn't unfortunately been injured, he wouldn't be getting this chance to play right now, and I definitely felt much more comfortable with him in goal compared to Samsonov, even before the score really came to fruition. It was Martin Jones' first shutout as a Leaf. There was a lot of Leafs firsts last night, and like firsts for players as a Toronto Maple Leaf, which very exciting. Shutouts are rare enough as it is, but it's also super impressive when it's done with such dominance, really, and especially against a team like the Pittsburgh Penguins, which obviously in recent years has been full of all-stars, has been a really strong team, a really competitive team to play against, whereas last night they looked really quite weak and sloppy in comparison to the Leafs. And I think it was a combination of the Leafs looked really solid, but the Penguins also really seemed weak in comparison. And it's really bizarre to me that a team with the likes of Crosby and Malkin on it could look as sloppy as that. That was really odd to me. But as a Leafs fan last night, that was obviously an incredible performance. It was a great game, and I think it was really unbelievable that, again, I said this in my last video, but the Leafs have had quite a bit of adversity recently in terms of just injuries, illness, schedule, etc., and they just have really pushed through it all, and they're just performing so well, and the star players are also coming out to play again, because there was a few games where it was almost like the core were a little bit invisible, whereas that's not the case. But equally so, to play like that last night when you're missing your best star player, Austin Matthews, I think that is just ridiculously impressive, because while it's a team sport, you have to admit that Edmonton wouldn't look like Edmonton without McDavid playing. And there's definitely been games in the past when Austin's been injured where I've just thought the Leafs just didn't look quite as good without him there. Whereas last night, you didn't even notice that he wasn't there, which I think is great, because as much as I love Austin Matthews, it just shows what the team can do, even given some like people being out, even given some players being injured or ill or whatever. And I think that's a level of security that the Leafs haven't really had recently. I think that's something the Leafs were missing in the past, and there was a certain reliance on just a few handful of players, whereas last night showed that there was players from all over the place who were scoring, which it ranged from obviously the core all scored, apart from Austin, but the core that were in the lineup all scored, because there was goals from Marner, Nylander and Tavares, which is great to see. The likes of Domi was obviously in there, and Matthew Nyes, his first NHL fight, which I thought was just great to see. His performance, just incredible, especially it was his first game back. He'd been unwell, so you kind of have lower expectations, but he was exceptional. I really feel like this team is special, and look, any of you who are not Leafs fans and you're watching this, I know you're going to chirp me and you're going to be like, well, what's the point? It doesn't matter until the postseason, you know, win a cup and then you can say how good your team is. But I strongly disagree. I think hockey has a long season, and if you're not enjoying those regular season wins, what are you even doing there, you know? You might as well start watching in April if that's how you feel, but I think that regular season wins and impressive performances are something to be really excited and happy about, and as a fan, that's really what keeps you going. If you're just going to be relying on cup wins, one, the Leafs would have zero fans, and two, that makes for such a boring way to be a fan. I'm always going to be there cheering on, whether it's a December game, which in the long run they add up, but in the moment it seems kind of meaningless, or whether it's when they're, you know, winning the first round again. But I do feel like this team is something special, and the resilience they've shown recently, even, you know, the comeback against Columbus the other night, that was unheard of in previous years for the Leafs. I just think they're a special team, they're a special group with really good experienced players, like Matthew Nyes is coming through. Just absolutely incredible, and that performance last night deserved a whole video mini analysis of its own. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment down below what do you think of the game, how do you feel about this year's team, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already as well. And I'll be back soon with more Toronto sports chats from across the pond. Bye guys.